Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. And in the meantime, if you've never met me, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And I was exploring a little bit of both today. I made a point of getting out of the house. I delve deep and I get a little punch drunk in what I do. I had to make a point to get out of the house. I had made a promise to myself to go and look for some fancy paper. I have a friend who's a pen pal and he writes the most beautiful letters. And I thought maybe I would go out and I would buy him some nice paper for Christmas. It was difficult. I couldn't find what I was looking for. I'm not going to stop trying, but it did get me out of the house. It really did. And then when I got home, I felt I didn't have enough of outdoors. So I went out for another 20 minutes and went for another short walk to the grocery store and picked up a few things and came back. I've been doing chores around the house in my thoughts, right? Just doing a little bit of contemplation. In truth, it was something I came across this morning. And because I had a lot of projects, winter's coming around. It gets to minus 40 below here in Manitoba. We're starting to buckle down. And even though I live in an apartment, there's still things to do. So I stripped the air conditioner out of the window. I hauled it out to a dumpster. That piece of poo poo air conditioner I got burned this summer when I decided to save a few dollars and buy something that was used. Happy to see it go. It was taking up a lot of space here. I'm not going to replace it, this space with anything else in it, as I am only looking for one more item for my apartment, and that is a dresser. And this is the only spot left in my home. So if I should happen across that dresser this year, right, there's the spot. It's ready to go. Other than that, I am putting myself on a little bit of a purchase diet, only because of the goals that I've set for myself this year. They are loose goals because I'm moving towards them in the moment, but not having a clear directive, a clear perspective, a clear idea of truly how it's going to look like, right? How I'd like it to look like, how I would like it to play out, what kind of investment I want to put in it, and truly, really contemplate, is that what I want to do? Right? Is that what I want to do? A lot can happen between now and September. A lot can. Already has. In coming home from my holidays, 3 weeks, I have been a little bit off. I'd have to say I've been extremely off. Little bit, like I said, punch drunk, uh, in being a fiscal end of my year. I don't know if the be all to end all has decided to reward me. It doesn't feel like a reward, but it feels really heavy in what it is. And the little nudges and the little things that come across my path that kind of play into some of these things that have been on my mind, right? And it means something. And I knew it all along. But sometimes, in not wanting to stir the pot, everything's calm in the moment, or everything is just right on the edge a little bit, and one more thing is just going to make everything right fall to pieces or blow up in my face, right? I have a little bit of a rundown in the way that I feel. I feel like there's a cold coming on, right? I also feel like I have no energy to push back. You know what I mean? That stuff that I talk about that I just have to push back when it pushes against me. And I'm pooped. I'm dragged out on it. It has been a busy week. Yeah, right. I admittedly, right? It has been full of challenges, physical work, frustration, lots of contemplation in that, and that want to, oh, really? I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be doing this. And digging my heels in things that I know that I should be doing, because if I'm not doing it, it means something else. And all of this is coming from a quote. I'm going to apologize again. I don't know whose quote this is. It was a lady. She was being interviewed by somebody. Hmm. I never met her before. So again, I'm going to apologize. This isn't mine. So hopefully she gets credit, because it was a, oh, are you kidding me? And it kept me in a state. Every time I sat down at my desk after doing a little bit around the house, catching up on things that I knew that I had to get done, but because I was digging my heels in, right? Because I was procrastinating, because I felt that cold coming on, because I felt that list of chores that I needed to accomplish was going to be pretty impossible to get done, right? 50% of that reason being is I really didn't want to do it, right? Sat down with a cup of coffee, and in those moments when I'm taking those breaks in between the things that I'm doing, I'm obviously taking in lessons. I'm listening to thought leaders out there. I'm listening to regular everyday people in their struggles and what they're trying to accomplish. And I sit here and I listen, and sometimes I'm inspired by that. Other times, no, I'm on to the next thing, because in the moment it doesn't pertain to what I'm doing or what I want to put out there or how I want to help, right? That's a little bit of what I do. I procrastinate in the content, right? I'm doing this. I'm busy, right? Can't get to that right now. I'm busy taking this in, and yet it was just filler. It had zero to contribute to my life, to the situation that I'm in, or to anybody else's life. That's not to say somewhere's down the road that it might, right? But this will. I wrote this quote down by this lady. I have no idea who she was. I was impacted by the statement. I wasn't um, in a state of recognizing somebody's brilliance and thinking it up, or relating it into a interview. Right? All I thought is that message, and I'm butt in gear today, because I have goals. I've made choices. I'm moving towards them. Yes, I'm procrastinating. Yes, I'm digging my heels in the ground. Yes, I really, some of it I don't want to be doing. Some of it I don't feel I'm accomplished enough to be able to get it done properly. But my own well-being is wrapped up in some of those responsibilities, some of those accountabilities to myself, right? In my everyday, day to day, like taking the air conditioner out of the window and disposing of that piece of junk, right? Working in my hall closet, trying to make a little bit of space for myself, because I walk around my apartment and I stumble over things, and it makes me sad, makes me feel like a hoarder in all truth, because I live in such a small apartment, and I'm at work and I'm buying things and I'm bringing it home, and I haven't been taking my donations of equal amount, equal volume back to work, right? Hopefully, I've made up for that. I've got a couple of bags ready to take to work tomorrow, but it doesn't lessen the way I felt about stumbling around in my own home. And it made me kind of sad. It made me kind of reflect on what am I doing with my money, right? Do I need all of this, right? Right? So I delved in a little bit on those things that I had promised myself on Friday when I started into my weekend. I said, these are the things that I want to get accomplished on my days off. And these are the things that I have to accomplish on my days off. And most of it was stuff that I wasn't looking forward to doing, right? The laundry, the editing of my video. And if you haven't seen my next installment in my Ontario provincial park tour, I posted another video yesterday. So it's up. Just go to my main page and you can check it out. It is a trip that I put together for myself every single year. And every single year it gets bigger and bigger. It's much bigger than I am. And it's amazing. And it's full of experiences for myself, full of insights that I am grateful that when I come home and I delve into that editing, that I get to re experience that trip that I worked a long time for. I put a lot of effort in, put quite a bit of money into that, and a lot of expectations of what it would do for me. And it did do for me. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. But today is a day of accountability, right? Because what I'm not changing, I'm choosing, right? I'm not changing in the things that I know I should be changing. Came in today, I was talking about those serendipities, those things that come across my past, those conversations, those uploads on YouTube, listening to some of that thought leadership and right, and they're reflecting today, right, in their posts today on topics that I've been contemplating all day in, right? I have to look at that, right? What are the chances? And it just would just seem random if it was just one, but it just seems like everybody is on it, right? So I had to be on it. And I got a lot of chores done. I did for myself today. I served myself today, right? Because I needed it. I needed to feel good. I needed to feel that there was still something left in me, right? That I can keep moving forward. And even if I am procrastinating and even if I'm digging in my heels, I'm still moving, right? I still made choices. I still got goals, and I don't know exactly in the framework how those goals are going to look like, but they're being created, right? But only in that minute movement that I am drumming up because I truly am drumming it up. I am completed with my day, but my checklist, everything, well, maybe the winter clothes. I In the end they were on my bed and I knew I was going to bed soon, so I took them off my bed, my big pile, and I just put them in a Rubbermaid container. Right? We'll finish that project tomorrow, but I tried, right? I put that effort in. I held myself accountable to the things that I needed to get done, right? And I got a lot done. And I felt like a snail. I felt like a slug. I felt unworthy of what those goals that I'm trying to achieve, right, are. Like I have to hold myself accountable, right? And it's not like I'm beating myself up. I'm just doing it very, very slowly, right? I'm not afraid of movement. I'm not much of a jogger, but I'm not afraid of movement. I'm constantly in a state of change. I constantly am in a state of change. But what I'm not changing, I'm definitely choosing. And so what was on my mind on my set of days off was pretty big, right? Big change in my life. Don't like the big changes. I could do the little ones all day long because they will eventually slowly move me in the direction that is enticing to me. But I'm on these platforms, right? And I'm taking in the lessons. And if I don't put action behind some of those lessons, then how am I supposed to move forward in any way? How am I supposed to be the evidence to other people in how it should be done, right? When it should be done. Should have been done when I thought of it. But because of the convenience to what it adds to my life, because it always, right? The negative always has something to give, right? Stick around. I'll do this for you, right? Stick around. What are you going to do if you don't have me? Right? You're going to be punch drunk 24/7 because you won't have this to ground in. But I think detrimental to my health. And I'm not just talking about my physical health, I'm talking about my emotional health and my mental well being. I have to take my lessons seriously, right? I have to be the example for others. And even if I don't have a sure footing, right, or a sure idea of how it's all going to play out and where I'm going to land in that, don't think I have a choice when the serendipities and the lessons and the conversations, all of it. This quote that I'd never heard before, right? That impacted me so much today that every time I sat down, oh God, you finish the laundry, Cindy? Oh, sit down. Have a cup of coffee. Mm. I broke down and bought real pods for coffee. I'm trying to treat myself well. I recognize I buy a lot of stuff because it's cheap, not because it's quality, right? I buy a lot of stuff too. But that's the change, right? That's the realization. And those are the small movements, right? Me feeling bad today and saying, oh my goodness, I cannot trip over my broom. I can't trip over that bag. I can't trip over my own shoes. I can't hold my gut in just to get through the bathroom door because it's being blocked by a silly coat rack that Cindy had to buy. It's a cool coat rack, but it wasn't something that I needed. It was something that I wanted in the moment, because when I brought it home and I stumbled and I knocked it over twice and broke an ornament, right? I wasn't so eager to have it in my house, but it motivated me. I cleaned out the walk in closet. I made some room for it. In the meantime, I cleaned up all my shoes and put my shoes away. And then putting my shoes away, I have to go into my winter bucket. And the next thing you know, all my winter clothes are being put away and hung hung up, and I'm looking at my air conditioner in the window, and I says, oh my goodness, I said I wanted to take that down this weekend. And then next thing you know, I'm ripping tape off my window, and I'm cleaning, and I'm stripping the hoses and hauling the air conditioner out to the garbage. Just before my life, I'm going, oh my goodness, I feel so good, right? Sitting here and staring at this one note that I had written down, and I must have looked at it 10 times today, right? And gave it some real thought. I don't think I have a choice, right? In order in order to make a little bit of movement for myself, I have to put the lessons into action. I really do, because I think I am doing myself. Even if I don't recognize it, I have to recognize it. It's just not Cindy. It's those other parts of me. And if those other parts of me are being agitated, being made to feel bad, right? And I felt that, made to feel frustration, made to be put in a position where, right, I have to spend my days off periodically running it through my mind and giving it some time. And if I'm giving it some time, I'm giving it my energy, and possibly some energy that in the end, right, that decision was already made, and all I'm doing is sticking my heels, right? Procrastinating in it, right? What I'm not changing, I'm choosing. And I choose not to choose that, right? So if I choose not to choose that, changes have to come about. And if I choose that, right, changes have to come. But I have to make some choices in that, because I'm representing, right? I'm representing. I'm showing up here. I have to represent, because otherwise, who else is going to jump into the mix and put in that work for themselves, right? Without that evidence, really, none of us are going to, right, get those feet moving. We'll still have those heels dug into the ground. 100%. You guys, I'm back to work tomorrow, right? How this week plays out, I don't know. Physically, I'm still a little bit sore, right? Feel like there's a little bit of a cold coming on. Not really overly exuberant, right? To go back into something that has changed, right? It has changed, but not enough. You guys, I'm going back into maybe a half an hour. Finish this lesson that I was taking in, finish my cup of coffee, feel good at what I got done today, feel good that I didn't ignore what I was trying to not look at. I really was, right? I've known it for I've known it for a long time. I've known it for a long time. But with those what ifs. But what if? But what if? Oh no, what if? Right? And instead of just jumping into it and see what, right? Let's see what. You guys, I don't mean to dance around that, right? But in the moment, there's no action in that. And so once the action is put in place, I'll fill you in and in how it's all playing out. You guys, it's got to be my good cheer. I would have to say, right? If there's something that you know that you're procrastinating on, if there's something that you know you're supposed to be doing, right? But it's uncomfortable. It's difficult. It's time consuming. It needs research. It needs manpower. It needs resources, right? Just make that choice and just start moving towards it, even in the little teeny weeny steps, right? I'm showing you that. You don't know what it is, but that's my small step, right? I'm going to write me a little thank you card. You guys have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.